Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm just testing out this live because I'm going to start going live. Hold on. Let me take these broke glasses off. I broke my glasses, man. You know, having glasses is a pain in the asses. All right. Just gonna rock these. I'm gonna rock these right here. You know what I'm saying? Uh Going live. I'm just looking at it. I'm trying to test the waters here because I'm gonna have to do something about the lighting. Um Felt like I needed to go live to talk. Let's talk some Browns. Let's talk about what happened in the game. You know, uh, very disappointing outcome. Very, very, very disappointing outcome. But I'll give some people a chance to come on in here as I pull up some stats. I can't see that well without my glasses, guys. Can't see that well without my glasses. Can't even type well without them. Let's see here. Browns versus Steelers. What are you talking about? You can't reach it. What are you talking about? Telling me they can't reach. I'm just over here on my other computer. I'm gonna get this thing right because I need to go live. I need to go live. What is the internet not connected here? What are we doing? What are we doing here? All right. Google.com. Okay. As we let some more people get up in here. I'm not sure what's going on with my computer over here. All right, here we go. All right. So, yeah. Browns on Monday night. Oh, we are so anticipating this team to just take off after the move we made to get a quarterback that everybody believes can be an elite top 5 quarterback in the league. Right now, he's bottom 3. Bottom 3. That's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. So we come out, we're all excited. We got a new look with the white helmets matching the vintage 1946 white jerseys, matching the white pants. Everything's matching. Because, you know, you wear these stripes like this, and then you have the orange helmet with the brown stripes with the white in the middle. And then the pants, if we wear the orange pants, it really matches the helmet. But when we wear the white pants, it's like the stripes are all over the place. I guess it all goes together because it's orange, it's brown, it's white everywhere. But that's the first time, in my opinion, that the entire uniform matched from head to toe. Very clean look. Very clean look. I was excited to see what that looked like on television. And it looked like dog crap based on what transpired in the game. First play off the rip. First offensive play off the rip. Pick 6 going the other way. Now, what happened there? There's a multitude of things that went wrong in that play, in my opinion. One, I didn't like the play call. I didn't like the play call. Now, let's start there. Kevin Stefanski has to stop with this, I'm going to outsmart everyone. You think I'm going to do this, but I'm going to do that. But that usually doesn't pan out for us. That Kevin Stefanski is thinking about, other than this, usually doesn't pan out. And somebody please get Kevin Stefanski the AFC North handbook, the Cleveland versus Pittsburgh Steelers handbook. Because what those games are about is about physical domination one way or the other. Now, Jim Schwartz, he gets it. He came with the defense and the plan and the type of style that you need to beat your division opponents. This is supposed to be the toughest division in football. It's not looking like it. Everybody wants to be finesse. Kevin Stefanski wants to be a finesse team on offense. I don't care what people say about we're a running team behind Nick Chubb, who, prayers up to Nick Chubb, suffered that horrendous, gruesome knee injury at the hands of Minkah Fitzpatrick, which I think was a dirty hit. I think when you fly into somebody's extremities like a missile and you hitting them right at the knee area, there's intention to try and hurt someone there. And I saw Minkah Fitzpatrick when he flung the receiver, I think it was David Bell, just flung him down like a rag doll. Unnecessary. Yes, football is a tough sport, but they've put rules in place to stop people from going over the line, from crossing the line of good sportsmanship and good hits to where it's borderline you're playing dirty. To fly into that man's knee, let's go back to the first play. So we line up, Nick Chubb motions out to wide receiver. What are we doing? The first player you call in a game on national TV against your division foes who have kicked your ass for the majority of the time you've been in existence from when we came back into the league in 99. You call Harrison Bryant's number. You call Harrison Bryant's number, a quick throw out to the flats or whatever. That play wasn't going anywhere. And people say that the interception was not Deshaun Watson's fault. Ladies and gentlemen, go back and look at the replay again. There was some miscommunication there where Harrison Bryant turns around and kind of sits down in his route. Deshaun Watson thinks he's going to continue to the outside, so he throws the ball kind of to lead him. So he fires that ball out there pretty fast. Like, you need to have some touch on a short pass like that. So the ball coming in hot. I'm standing here and the ball's going over there. So I try to reach for it. Now, yes, the golden rule is if you get your hands on the ball, you should catch the ball. If you get your hands on the ball, you should catch the ball. But how many instances have we talked about in the past where you complain about quarterbacks not having the right touch, throwing the ball too hard on a short pass? Put the ball in the breadbasket. Give them a catchable ball. All balls should be catchable, but all receivers and tight ends aren't created equal with their hands. Okay? So Stefanski was the first wrong in calling that play, trying to trick the Pittsburgh Steelers. You probably thought we were going to run Nick Chubb first, didn't you? But no, we're going to spread them out and we're going to do a pass play, almost like a tight end screen type of deal. For what? If you saw how that game ended up playing out, I'm looking at the numbers now. We averaged 6.5 yards per carry. Did he do the scouting report? Did he not know that Cam Hayward wasn't playing? Cam Hayward not playing is significant to the success of the run game up the middle. You have Nick Chubb back there. Nick Chubb, arguably, prior to this injury, the best back in football. And you want to get finesse in Pittsburgh when these two teams, like Cleveland, we're a tough, hard-nosed Midwest city. You can't have finesse games in the wintertime. You got to be able to impose your will on teams. So that was the first wrong. So then, since you want to do that instead of this, that went wrong. And you saw what happened. Pick six right out the gate. We supposed to be out here changing the people's minds of who they think we are as a team. Nobody, and I mean nobody that I've ever met when I've lived outside of Cleveland. You mentioned nobody gives Cleveland a chance to do anything because they just consider us to be this perennial losing organization. That's all we do is lose, or we just mess it up. Something's going to go wrong. And here we are on national TV proving them right once again. And that pisses me off because I defend this team to no end. But for it to start off like that, it's like, oh, here we go. Here we go. And not here we go, Brownies, here we go. Just here we go. So here's Pittsburgh on the board, gifted. Same thing we did to them in the playoffs a couple years back. Things just going and things like that happening to them instead of us. But I'm like, I wasn't going to panic. It's the very first play of the game. I feel like we have a better team, which we do. We're more talented than them. I looked at my wife. I said, we're going to win this game. And we should have won the game. Now, I do a recap song after the game, and I tell it like it is. I'm going to speak what I feel is the truth about what I witnessed and what I watched. So I put this song out. I take and shout out to Lil Wayne, Millie, because I'm always flipping somebody's song into a Browns recap song. And I do that because I want people to be familiar with the music and they can understand where I'm coming from better. And I appreciate all the love I've gotten on these songs, these recap songs. I started doing them back in 2019. 2019, I decided I'm gonna recap. I'm gonna do rap recaps of every game, win or lose, because it's how I get my frustrations out or my positive energy out. How I want to express myself about what I saw in the game. So we end up losing this game 26-22, even though we dominated in every statistical category there is. Total yards, we had, what does it say here? 408 yards to their 255. Passing game, a wash. Pretty much even. 210 yards to their 200 yards passing. Running game, oh God. Blew them out the water. 198 rushing yards to their 55. They had 55 total yards rushing. Testament to the defense. Testament to the defense. The Pittsburgh Squealers never even drove into our red zone. They never even got close enough in the red zone. They could just get close enough to kick field goals because our defense, tremendous. They look tremendous this year. We're getting them off the field. And that's been an Achilles heel for the Cleveland Browns, getting teams off the field when you need to get them off the field and give the ball back to the offense. So explain to me why when we time of possession, we had the ball 11 more minutes than them. We had the ball for, it says here, 35 minutes and 28 seconds to their 24 minutes and 34 seconds. 20 first downs, 20 first downs to their 9. How we lose this game, ladies and gentlemen? How? How do you lose a game when these are the statistics? I'll tell you where. Turnovers. We had 4 turnovers. One right off the rip, which led to direct points for the other team. 3 of the turnovers Deshaun Watson was involved in. He was involved in the first turnover, whether you want to say it was his fault or the receiver's fault. That interception goes on his stat line. It goes in the record books as an interception for Deshaun Watson. Trust me, I know, because he's one of my fantasy football quarterbacks on one of my teams. And that's a -2 on an interception. I want to try to read these comments. Yep, turnovers, 2 TDs. Thank you. I kill your vibe. Yeah. Shout out to Mopar. Sorry if it's going to look like I'm squinting now. My glasses broke. I'm going to get those things fixed so we don't got to go through this. My man said, don't wear the white helmets no more. Yeah. So turnovers is what killed this game for us. And Deshaun Watson, now you got people on both sides of the fence here. And I'll preface this by saying I was not an advocate for this move, not because I have something against Deshaun Watson, the player. I know what Deshaun Watson has been as a player, and I respect that. But the drama surrounding his personal life, the way it affected whether or not he could even play, the time he spent away from football because of his legal situation and him falling out with ownership with the Houston Texans because they traded away DeAndre Hopkins. He took a stand against that team and didn't want to play for them anymore. And this is before the legal troubles. The legal troubles came when he decided he didn't want to play for them anymore. Go back and look it up. He didn't take a year off because he had the legal troubles. He wasn't going to play for them. And this was most recently after they had just given him a pretty lucrative contract. He didn't like what the ownership was doing as far as the players. He was vocal about it. And he was taking his stand. He was drawing his line in the sand with the Houston Texans. And then the allegations came. Heavy allegations. We all know the whole story. I don't need to rehash that. But I was a person of the mentality of, how convenient that these allegations come out when he draws his line in the sand with the team. But that's neither here nor there. And I'm not going to poo-poo the allegations because they were very serious allegations. And those civil suits have been settled for the most part. And we understand how it affected him being able to play. He got the 11-game suspension, came back, played for us 6 games last year, went 500. In fact, we lost to the Cincinnati Bengals for the first time since Joe Burrow has been their quarterback when Deshaun Watson played because he's rusty. That was it. That was what we said last year. He was rusty. He hadn't played in over 700 days. That's what everybody said. Now people are still saying that today. No, that excuse is gone. Once you've paid the man, once you guaranteed this man $230 million, he got to show up. You had a full training camp, and trust me, I believed in it. I still do believe to a certain extent, but my belief system is wavering a little bit after seeing his performance on Monday night. If he doesn't turn the ball over, even if he doesn't, okay, let's say the pick 6 happened. We overcame that, the pick 6. Other people, the other turnover was David Njoku. We don't even think about that. The David Njoku fumble happened. We don't even think about that because of the fumble, the turnovers that Deshaun Watson was involved in were more egregious and had much more of an impact on the outcome of the game. So you had to pick 6. The next turnover was the fumble on the 4th and 1. Again, I'm giving Stefanski some blame on this one because why are we running an option play on a 4th and 1 when you have Nick Chubb, who squats 1,000 pounds? And I'm exaggerating, but Nick Chubb back there. You can't get a yard. You don't even attempt to run Nick Chubb to get that yard. Bad play calling. So on after the bad play call, Deshaun Watson, they call an option play, which was dumb. He sees that they on Nick Chubb's ass. He can't pitch it to Nick Chubb. So he cuts it up. Gets the first down, but lets the ball get knocked out of his hands. The ball gets knocked out of his hands and recovered by the Pittsburgh Steelers. They had called it a first down, but he lost the ball. Why are you having trouble holding on to the ball, protecting the ball? That would have turned the game because we were in Pittsburgh territory. We could have kept the drive alive. There were times when he was playing competent football. He made some throws. We got some pretty good receivers out there that can catch the ball outside of Harrison Bryant. Because there was another play where he didn't catch the ball. But Elijah Moore, Amari Cooper, I'm not sure why Donovan Peoples-Jones has disappeared from the offense, but you had Bell out there making catches. So you got some receivers there that can get the job done. He just needs to deliver it to him. And he did at times. We drove down the field, but Stefanski loses his mind. He loses his NFL intelligence once we get in the red zone. His red zone playbook is trash. It's trash. Because when Grant Delpit intercepted Kenny Pickett, we were basically in the red zone. And what do we do? 3 pass plays, we go backwards, and we get no points. And Hopkins, bless his heart, he's been doing well, missed a 43-yard field goal. Because you don't want to hand the ball off one time. This misconception that we're a running team. The reason I dispute that is because before I make these songs, I do every research of every aspect of the game. I watch the replay of the game. I listen to press conferences. I take the temperature of what is just happened before I put my lyrics together. And one thing I look at is the stat sheet. This is dating back years. Nick Chubb has very few games where he's had 20 to 25 carries. He's never averaged that many carries in a game. We always pass more than we throw. And people think that this team is led by Nick Chubb. No, it's just that Nick Chubb has been that good that he gets that amount of yards off minimal carries. Averaging 15, 16 carries a game, but he's cracking the 100-yard mark. He's breaking teams off in chunks. And if your team can do that, why don't you just do it? Kevin Stefanski, why don't you just do that? Why wouldn't you just do that? Now, I caught a lot of flack a couple years ago when people got off of a certain quarterback. I was labeled a Baker bro because I didn't think we needed to move on and break up the band that had just got me my first playoff win since 94. My first playoff win since 94. After all the quarterbacks we ran through this organization. It's like 30 quarterbacks, right? They ran them all out of town. Every one of them, they had patience for no quarterbacks in Cleveland. Quarterback Baker Mayfield shows up. People say he's terrible. Let's talk about that for a second, because I got to give you context of where I'm coming from with this. I don't hitch my wagon to no individual player. Let's just say that right now. But since I disagreed that Baker was a terrible quarterback, I had to come up with information to back my argument. And in backing my argument, I just want to put it in a nutshell. Baker Mayfield played here for 4 years. First year, tied the rookie touchdown record. We thought that was great. He was brought in a tumultuous coaching situation. They were running Hugh Jackson out of the door when Baker was coming in. Remember? So they ran Hugh Jackson and then Doug Williams and decided to make Freddie Kitchens the head coach. Baker, year 2, he regressed under one of the worst coaches we've ever had. Baker threw a lot of interceptions that year, which is not good. He had a bad second season. So good first season, bad second season. They fire Freddie Kitchens. Third season comes. Kevin Stefanski, coach of the year. We go to the playoffs. What we had, like an 11-5 record. Baker played well that season. If you go back and look at his stats, he wasn't throwing a bunch of interceptions. He threw quite a few touchdown passes, though, and had some pretty great games. Oh, by the way, never lost to Cincinnati. So, good year, bad year, good year. Fourth season, we coming off a playoff high. The Browns are back. We are a playoff contending team now, right? As constructed, with Baker Mayfield as the quarterback. First 2 games, he's out there firing. We had to play. We had to rematch with the Kansas City Chiefs. We fell short. Baker didn't play bad. He was out there dealing. Because one thing is that out of the quarterbacks in his class, he was considered to be the most accurate coming out of college. So, second game, he gets the shoulder injury. He threw an interception, got the shoulder injury. And it was an injury to me that was serious enough to shut him down for the season. Everybody says he shouldn't have played. He should have been selfish and want to play. All players should want to play. It's up to the coach to sit him down. Coach can see in practices if he's looking good or if he's looking not, or see it in the games. He started playing bad, I'm pulling him. I'm sitting him down because I paid Case Keenum $9 million. Put him in the game. So they wouldn't do that, right? Then I started hearing people talking, the people that didn't like Baker, wanted to see him fail. Yeah, he's going to fail trying to play on that injury. And he did just that. But the injury wasn't an excuse, though, right? You couldn't use that as an excuse to those who were on the other side of that argument. I say he was playing bad and I said he's playing bad. Does that sound like I hitched my wagon to him? Or that I love him so much that I don't see that he's playing bad? Nah. So sit him or run the ball more. But not only did you not sit him, Kevin Stefanski still doing what he's doing today, he was doing back then. Passing more than he runs. Still throwing the ball 35 40 times, 30 to 35 times a game, only running it 16 times a game. Make sense? Nah. Now, when you have Nick Chubb, oh, by the way, we don't have Nick Chubb anymore. Maybe if you start the flow of the game off on Monday night, putting emphasis on your run game because their weakness was they didn't have Cam Hayward, things end up differently. Maybe that play that knocks Nick Chubb out for the season doesn't even happen. But it's too late. It did, and this is where we are now. Now, we re-signed Kareem Hunt, which is a good thing. But I was very impressed with what Jerome Ford did. Jerome Ford gave us the numbers that Nick Chubb would give us. And the fact that he had the speed to run away from Pittsburgh's defense. I think Nick Chubb might have made it all the way to the end zone without getting tripped up. But damn, that was a hell of a run. And Jerome Ford got all those fantasy points on my bench. I think I have Jerome Ford on every fantasy team. I have 4 fantasy teams, and I have Jerome Ford on every single one of them. So I'm going to start him this week. But Kareem Hunt's in the fold now. Kareem Hunt already knows the offense. We'll see how he's, in how he's put into the game plan. But I'm glad to have him back. He was a free agent, probably wanted more money than they were willing to give him at the time. Wasn't able to find a deal with another team. This was a golden opportunity for Kareem Hunt to rejoin the Cleveland Browns. And it happened quick because he probably was sitting there waiting. He wanted to play for Cleveland. These are the type of guys we need, not guys who were disgruntled at the fact that they got sent here, like Odell Beckham Jr., for instance, who, in my opinion, didn't want to play here. And that makes a difference, guys. Your attitude towards your situation makes a difference. How many times have you had a job? You might have a job right now that you can't stand. You're not going to want to go to work, and you're going to want to do the bare minimum while you're at work just to get by and get that paycheck. That's what I felt like we were dealing with Odell. Plus, Browns fans, I know it's been a long time since we won anything or was significant, since the Bernie Kosar days, which I was alive for. I've been a Browns fan since I was a kid, and Brian Sipe was the quarterback. I get it. It's been a long time, and you're anxious to have something. But I feel like a lot of times we were more concerned with having a name brand player here than a player that just wants to grind it out and help the team win. Odell Beckham Jr. is a celebrity football player. He cared more about his name brand than executing on the field. In my opinion, I don't know this man. I hear he's a great teammate, great in the locker room, but when it comes to what's going to happen with him on the field, and I know he's grown up, but I just felt like when he was here, his heart wasn't all the way in it. Let's see what else they're saying in these comments, if I can read it. Yes, Hunt. Okay. Jedrick Wills. Now we're talking about Jedrick Wills getting owned. True. Jedrick Wills is not the player we thought he was going to be when they drafted him. They thought they found, because the Jedrick Wills, he didn't even play left tackle in college, if I'm not mistaken, right? I have to look that up. But he's our left tackle, and he was the replacement for the retiring Joe Thomas. And he's no Joe Thomas. That's for damn sure. But when you have a running game like ours, you can overcome subpar play at the left tackle position. If you're going to utilize the running game the way you can. And that's the problem. I don't think Kevin Stefanski does that. He does not utilize the running game to its full potential because he wants to throw the ball. Which goes back to my argument, you don't need that caliber of quarterback to run and be successful with this particular team the way it's constructed. When you have that type of firepower coming out of your backfield, you don't need your quarterback to be the only reason you win. So all of these Browns fans that saw the Patrick Mahomes come into the league and you saw Lamar Jackson have success. Nobody wanted to draft Lamar Jackson, by the way. He was passed on by all the teams. And then Baltimore traded back into the first round to get him with the final pick of the first round. Lamar Jackson, very exciting player, just like Michael Vick was. Michael Vick, who, by the way, never had championship success. Never had championship success, though we love to watch him play because you just wanted to see him take off. And we marveled at the speed that he ran with from the quarterback position. And he had an arm. Threw with his left, pretty bombs throwing down the field. But it did not equate to winning championships. Now let's talk about Lamar Jackson. When you bring a talent like that into the league, a lot of times the league defenses aren't ready to handle that. And they don't have a defense constructed to handle that. So you catch a lot of teams off guard when you put a player like that out there and they don't really have the personnel. They don't have speedy linebackers that can chase him down, or so to speak. And trust me, as you get older, you're going to lose a step. He's not going to be able to just do that forever. Case in point, ever since he won that MVP, the numbers had declined. Oh, and he hasn't played a complete season since then without getting hurt. People say we should have drafted Lamar Jackson. Do you know what would have happened to Lamar Jackson if he had got drafted here? You would have ran him out of town because we weren't ready to have any quarterbacks at that time because of the coaching situation. Now, had he survived until Kevin Stefanski ended up getting here, if that's how it would have panned out, then maybe we'll have something there. I respect Lamar Jackson's talent. And right now, he's playing decent, but he's not blowing it out the water. You know how I know? Because he's one of my fantasy football quarterbacks, so I pay attention to his numbers. He's not blowing it out of the water, ladies and gentlemen. They won last week. They're 2-0. But that first game, they barely got out of there. And it wasn't because Lamar Jackson was out there lighting it up. You haven't seen no extra highlight of Lamar Jackson ripping and running around like he did his MVP season. You ain't seen that. Not saying that you won't, but you haven't. So you got to pay attention. Then people was like, we should have drafted Josh Allen. All is hindsight. We should have drafted Josh Allen. You would have ran Josh Allen out of here too, with his inaccurate self, with his reckless self. Did you see the first game of the season against the Jets? All on, even though the Jets won that game, and it's because Josh Allen imploded. He had a bad night. Like Deshaun had a bad day, turning the ball over. Same with Josh Allen. I've watched them get to the playoffs, get to the AFC Championship game. People was like, oh, well, he went toe-to-toe with Patrick Mahomes. Since when did we ever give a quarterback credit for going toe-to-toe with another good quarterback here in Cleveland? Because I seem to remember certain quarterback that we just recently ran out of town going toe-to-toe with Lamar Jackson on a night game. Every time he got the ball back, take us down the field and score. It's always, well, if people's mentality, you gotta have a quarterback of this caliber to compete with them. No, you have to have a defense of this caliber to be able to shut that quarterback down. It's the defense against the quarterback, not the other way around. We are so thirsty to have what other teams have instead of building our own identity. And we had built our identity through the draft. Most of our roster was constructed because we went 0-16, because we went 1-15. We got these players and they just needed to be brought together. Like we needed Nick Fury to bring all the Avengers together and make them play on the same team so we can win. That's what needs to happen. And you didn't necessarily have to have a Patrick Mahomes for it to happen. This notion that you can't win unless your quarterback is as good as Patrick Mahomes, that's bullshit. Greatest quarterback of all time, Tom Brady. Some might argue Joe Montana. None of these guys were mobile quarterbacks. Matter of fact, please tell me the quarterback with the super athletic quarterback that has the Super Bowl ring. Please tell me. I'll wait. I'm talking with the extracurricular athletics like a Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, who gonna rack up running yards. Tell me the quarterback like that in recent history that has the Super Bowl ring. Colin Kaepernick was a quarterback like that. Made it to the Super Bowl, but didn't win it. Who else? Cam Newton. Big, could run. Got to the Super Bowl, got beat by a quarterback who stays in the pocket. Oh, by the way, Peyton Manning was a shell of himself the year they won that Super Bowl. All defense mainly. But you got to give him credit for making the plays he had to make. Something we don't do. We won a playoff game a couple years ago, and no one would be willing to give credit to the quarterback. He didn't have anything to do with that win. I got 260 some yards and 3 TDs stat line to prove you otherwise. Our defense packed the game. Last night was a perfect. Not last night. Monday night was a perfect example of defense winning you a game. The defense scored 2 touchdowns, and the offense scored 1 on 1 lucky big play. 1 blown coverage, 1 big play. That's the only time they scored on offense. Defense won them that game only because we basically handed them the touchdowns that they scored. You want to blame the offensive line? Fine. But as our $230 million quarterback couldn't escape the pocket. We expect him to play like a Lamar Jackson because we've seen him do it. He can't run as fast as Lamar, but we don't expect him to sit back there and get sacked when the pocket breaks down. We don't expect him to carry the ball like a loaf of bread while he's running and make it easier for the defenders to knock the ball loose. We don't expect that. I don't expect that. I'm like, here we go. If you paying him all of this money, I need to see the show, baby. So now I have a lack of patience because our window of time to win with this team is closing quickly. We done already lost Nick Chubb, who was supposed to be part of this. I feel terrible for him because he's supposed to be part of our rise, our ascension. He's supposed to be right there with us, making plays, making a name for himself, going on ahead and beating the records of the greatest running back who ever played here, Jim Brown. This, and rest in peace to Jim Brown. But this is not how it was supposed to go. I'm sorry. I can't subscribe to what has been happening here. The Browns, I lived in other places and I've always championed the Cleveland Browns. And I always will. But this this did not look good on Monday night. So I'm expecting Deshaun Watson to bounce back against the Tennessee Titans, play better, not make them as many mistakes, and we should come out victorious playing against Ryan Tannehill and crew. Come on now. The way our defense is playing, I expect us to shut Ryan Tannehill down as well. If you shut Joe Burrow down, you should be able to shut Ryan Tannehill down. You shut Najee Harris down, you should be able to minimize what Derrick Henry could do. We should come out victorious, and I'm expecting every week I'm going to expect to see Deshaun Watson out there balling. Do you understand what I'm saying? And that's what I want to see. You think I want to make a song like the one I just made, having to get on Deshaun Watson, having to hold him accountable? I'm giving him some tough love, baby. He's going to get tough love from me. Let me see what these comments are saying without my glasses. I went to, what did it say? I went to what? Yeah, they should have been better. Kenyon says, I blame Deshaun Watson and Wills. Yeah, Deshaun Watson has to play better. I'm going to have to get my glasses fixed, guys, so I can read these comments better. And I'm sorry. I want to use the excuse they gave to Cincy for us that Pittsburgh knows us. Nah, Pittsburgh, like I said, we outplayed them, but we just gift wrapped the game to them. We gave them the touchdowns they needed. We had the lead late. We had a lead in the fourth quarter. Donovan Peoples-Jones made the mistake of not fielding a punt. We get pent back up against our end zone. What does Kevin Stefanski do? I'm going to drop Deshaun Watson back to pass. So what you did was you played into their hands. You played into the Pittsburgh Steelers' hands because their weakness now is up the middle. They're missing Cam Hayward. TJ Watt he's a phenomenal pass rusher. So if all you're going to do is pass, you're going to play to the advantage of what TJ Watt is. When you have a running game to offset a premier pass rusher, you run at them. That's how you get them off their game. You run at them. Kevin Stefanski is unwilling to do that. He's like, I'm going to win the way I want to win, and that's passing the ball. Well, sometimes you just got to change your game plan up, and you attack a team differently based on what their defensive strengths and weaknesses are. There'll be games when we can just light a team up on the passing game. There will be games like that. I think this Sunday might be one of those games where Deshaun Watson comes out and looks like the $230 million quarterback that we expect him to be. But that wasn't it, bruh. On Monday night, that wasn't the time to try to show off your fancy new car because your new car wasn't ready for that. Your new car wasn't ready. The only real good news from Monday night was that It was only one game. Nicholas. Right. It's early in the season. We 1-1. I'm not panicking on the season now. I still believe that this team is talented enough to win the AFC North. But Kevin Stefanski got to get his playbook, his calling together. He has a decent playbook. He just doesn't know when to play his cards. He want to pass when he should run and run when he should pass. And that's been a situation that's been going on before Deshaun Watson got here. Our defense has only given up points. What? Our offense needs to get on. I'm sorry, I'm squinting. I'm squinting, Kevin. Our offense needs to get on the board, of course. Our defense, we didn't even give up 14 points in that game from the defense. They had, what, 2 field goals? And that one touchdown, the one blown coverage for our defense with the 70-yard play to Pickens. That was it. That was literally it. All they did on offense. They had -7 yards of offense in the fourth quarter. If Deshaun doesn't even if Deshaun gets sacked on that play, as long as he holds on to the ball, we probably still win that game. We probably still win that game. I hear people talking about they were letting TJ Watt wreck, TJ Watt was going crazy. No, he wasn't. Maybe he applied some pressure, but TJ Watt had 1 sack and 2 tackles total in that game. Because when you run the ball, wasn't TJ Watt tackling the running backs? We get past that initial front line and get into the linebackers and stuff. Before we were averaging 6.5 yards a carry. Why would you stop running the ball? You had 2 capable running backs. You had Nick Chubb, you had Jerome Ford, who both can be explosive. Now we see. We already knew what Nick Chubb was bringing to the table. Jerome Ford, who I had my eye on, drafted out of Cincinnati, rookie last year. They was using him in kickoff returns. And now you see, he's a very capable running back as well. This game was set up for us to just dominate and impose our will on the Pittsburgh Squealers. But we want to drop back and pass all game. 40 pass attempts. Deshaun Watson was 22 for 40 with an interception. And it was almost 2 interceptions that when he heaved the ball up well over the receiver's head, and the only person that had a chance to catch it was the Pittsburgh defender, the DB, who, if he had good hands, he would have caught that ball. I thought it was going to be an interception. I was just like, oh, he can't catch. Thank God he can't catch, because that should have been an interception. Now I'm only gonna do this for an hour. Kareem Hunt, yes, I'm happy Kareem Hunt was available and willing to come back to the team, and he probably had a better negotiating chip this time. So he's getting $4 million for this year. But ladies and gentlemen, what happens when the bulk of Deshaun Watson's salary starts to kick in? Everybody talking about, well, the salary cap's going up, and I know Andrew Berry has been a wizard with moving this money around, but you can't move $230 million around. You're gonna have to pay him. That means you're not gonna be able to pay somebody else. And after the contract extension that Nick Bosa got out there in San Francisco, I can only imagine what Myles Garrett is going to ask for when he's ready to renegotiate, which could be next season. They don't wait till their final year in the contract to try to get that thing renegotiated. After this season, Myles Garrett is probably going to want some more money. And he has a pretty good contract right now. Now, I could be wrong. He might not stick us up like that. But if he's not willing, if he's willing to not stick us up, you know who needs to not be willing to stick us up? Deshaun. Hey, Deshaun, I think you should take a play, out of the Aaron Rodgers playbook when he went to the New York Jets and gave some money back. You've made a lot of money in this league. You got more money than most people will ever see in their life. So then it comes down to, do you want to win a championship here, or do you want to keep your money, all of it? Because he could say, hey, let's come back to the table so that I can make sure that we keep key players here. Now, I thought Nick Chubb was going to be a situation that we had to worry about contractually, but it's terrible. I don't know whether or not he'll play again. Now, if you remember, back when he in his college days in Georgia, he had a similar injury to the same leg, a dislocation of that knee. It was ugly. It was really ugly. And he came back from that with a vengeance all the way to what he has been in his NFL career. And I applaud him for that. That's phenomenal to come back from that horrific a knee injury. So I'm not going to say Nick Chubb can't come back. He's a strong dude, man. And I wish him the best. And if he does come back, I hope he come back just as strong as ever and he can get back to doing what he was doing for us, because he should be a part of this. It sucks. But that window, now that we got all this money that's going to be on the books for Deshaun upcoming season, you're not going to be able to keep this whole band together. You're not going to be able to pay everybody. That's just a fact, ladies and gentlemen. That's just a fact that we're going to have to pay people. And we ain't going to have the money to do so. Now, I know, listen, if you like what I'm talking about, you know, we do these YouTube things. You just drop a cash app, $1. $1 can go a long way for your boy, because I'm taking my time out to make these songs for y'all. And let's have a platform where we can really speak honestly. I don't really want to be like a sports talking head when it comes to the discussion about these Browns. I want to just keep it real. I want to talk to you just like I would talk to any of my homies or my friends about the Browns. And I try not to get super passionate. A lot of times I get too passionate and people think I'm getting mad and I'm ready to fight. And I do get upset because I've been banging my head against the wall with frustration about situations that don't pan out for us. So I appreciate everybody. And I have my Deshaun Watson jersey. And I'm rooting for you, Deshaun. Don't you do that again. Don't you give a game away again, man. Like I can do something about it if he does. But I'm saying we can't have it, bro. We cannot have it. But since you're here, hey, check out all the recap videos. Take a trip down memory lane. I did it just the other day because, to be honest, I've done so many songs, I can't even remember the lyrics to none of them. I barely remember the lyrics to the one I just did because I put them together in such a short time frame that, you know, I can't store them in this old brain. You know, I have to listen to the song over and over again just to learn it. But I do write my lyrics and I put it together in a short period of time so I can get them out there and express my opinions of what I saw on game day. So we got the Titans, and anybody wants some tickets, let me know, because I'm a season ticket holder, but I live now in the Atlanta area down in Georgia. So I'm not able to attend all the games like I did for 0-16 and for 1-15 and the years before that. And I've been a season ticket holder for quite some time now, and my seats are decent. So give me a holla if you know anybody that wants to go to a Browns game, a home game. I'm always going to have a pair of tickets available if somebody doesn't beat you to it. All right. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and shut this thing down. I just wanted to introduce myself here. I know you hear me rapping and you see me on the Dish Nation television show. Well, you see my segment from the Dish Nation television show. You might watch the show and catch me on the show. But yes, I'm on Dish Nation. I'm a radio personality. I'm an executive producer for a syndicated night show called Posted on the Corner. And we're syndicated in 20 markets. Show comes on 7 to midnight in Cleveland on Z1079. If you're in Atlanta, we're on Hot 1079. But we also come on in Philly. We're in Baltimore on 92Q. Just wanted to just let you know some of the things I got going on so you get to know me a little bit better. All right. I appreciate you, Nicholas. I'll be doing these a lot more often. Just jumping on, talking, not just rapping about the game, but let's really rap. Me and you, let's rap about the game and how we feel. Okay? Let you get your frustrations. Or when we win, we can get pumped up together. I'll bring some drinks and we can sit on here and have a good old time. All right. So until the next time, I appreciate y'all. Make sure you subscribe, hit the like button, and I'll holler at you soon.